This is going to be the first card we make. It's going to be a combination of colors, and I'll show you this technique and layer this card. The second one we're going to do is still keeping in line with a black background ink, but we're going to do a monochromatic feature, and we'll be using a new stamp set that I just received, Today's Tiles. Lastly, we're going to use the same technique, but we're going to use it with white craft ink, and so that gives the card a totally different look. And so we'll be making a seasonal card as well today using white background ink. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, our first card, Just Saying Hello. With this card, I have chosen to use the Poppy Parade as my card base, Granny Green as the next layer, the highlighted area, and we will be using the white, Whisper White, for our sentiment. Some rhinestones. These are the holiday rhinestones that we first got last year in our holiday catalog and are in our current catalog. And so these are just a lot of fun and just so vibrant and pretty. I had to just bling this card up a little bit. And we'll also be using Whisper White cardstock to create our colorful background. Now, these pieces, I think I mentioned already, this is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of Poppy Red. This is a 5 1/4 by 4 inches Granny Green. And then these are from the layering circles, and these are the 4th largest straight edge circle and 4th largest scallop circle. My Whisper White piece, because I'm layering naturally, and I bring my layers down 1/4 inch at a time, so this piece is actually 3 1/4 by 5 inches. And we're going to make this card vertically. So let's get the other ingredients out. Very important in all 3 of my projects today, we will be using Versamark ink and clear embossing powder. So I'll be using this in every project, despite the different colors you saw. That's the really cool thing, is that it takes the same ingredients to create that. This card gets a little messy. Your fingertips might get a little messy. I keep a little bag of diaper wipes handy in case I get too much ink on my fingers, then I can clean them up. I'm going to grab some of my sponges. These sponges actually come as a big round piece, such as this. These are a little used, as you can tell. And all I do is take my scissors and cut them into quarters so that I have more angles to work from. So let's get that put over here. I'm going to be using multiple bright colors. So we're going to have Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Poppy Parade. You know, earlier I think I said Poppy Red. Poppy Parade, because it's a bright red. And then Magenta Madness and Mango Melody. All right, first one and first sponge. So I've got Mango Melody, and here's where we start getting a little messy. I just find corners and just start inking up areas. I like about 2 splotches of every color on my wide base card. And let's see, now we're going to move to the Magenta Madness. So we'll close this one up, put it aside, open up Magenta Madness, which, by the way, that's one of these beautiful colors. Did I mention to you that this grid paper is actually in our catalog, and you can order it online? It is very pretty, and I like it because I do use the grids as part of a way of like double checking my measurements when I'm working with my projects. So, all right, we're just going to rub some Magenta Madness over here, and probably a little bit more over here. Just pull that in. I always go back and fill it in if I'm not happy with the colors. I mean, happy with, you know, the fill of the colors. All right, let's go for, let's see which of my sponges, this one. Some Poppy Parade. Poppy Parade. It's an orangish tinted red. I love it because it's just so nice and vibrant. I'll be using the flower from Tasteful Touches, which is a really pretty stamp set. Oh, let's do another little blotch here. When I first saw it, it didn't really speak too much to me. The labels, the dies, oh my gosh, they are so versatile because they have so many different shapes and sizes. And then I saw the variety of stamps that come with the Tasteful Touches, and I've actually used it so much more than I ever thought I would. It just has, it lends itself to different styles of projects, and that just, you know, sometimes you need that go-to kind of set that you can depend on, and just, you know, that when you open that stamp set, you're going to find the kind of look you want. And Tasteful Touches is one of those. I'll show you the stamp set in just a second. I'm about finished here. I didn't put as much of the Highland Heather as I had expected to, but that's okay. Once you see me stamping the flowers from Tasteful Touches, you know, I think I'm going to just put a pinch of darkness down here. That purple, that shade of Highland Heather will just, it'll still pop up. There. Okay, let's get this out of the way. And sure enough, as I speak, I have ink on my fingertips. All right, nice and colorful, right? So we go from this to this. Now here's the magic. Again, because I did put fresh wet ink, I am going to use my embossing powder because I do need to get some of that moisture off. As I said, these things that I'm sharing with you, I learned from experience. I tried the next step when you're embossing. It's going to require the moisture from the Versamark ink, and if you have too much moisture on your card left from having sponged the color on, it won't have as good an effect. So here is my stamp set, Tasteful Touches, and here's what I was talking about. So I'm taking that flower and I'm going to ink it up with the Versamark. So I'm going to just put one there. A little hard to see. Let me get my lamp down here a little bit so I can see some more brightness. And put there. And then I'm going to put one right about here. Yeah, see, if I lean a little bit here, it's easier for me to see the wetness that the Versamark leaves on the cardstock. Okay, and then put a nice big one right there. And I'll put a little bit of one there. Okay. So really important, keep your Versamark ink pad juicy. And here you go. See some of that shine? Okay, sorry about the noise. We're going to heat this up. My heat gun, I think it's about to be replaced. It's getting a little old and cranky. It takes a little bit longer than I'd prefer to heat up, but once it does, it works well. Hopefully you can start seeing some of this shine come to life. Where I had the powder from the Versamark, I'm now getting a good shine. And that's the Versamark is thickening, and that's our embossing texture. Remember I told you I'm going to get a little messy here. The good thing is the back of the card is going to be hidden because it's going to get some of that ink on the back. Sometimes it helps to just use something like this little bone folder, you know, so I can avoid getting it on my fingers. You can rub it, just ink it up. I can always come back and ink it up some more if I don't feel that it's got the colors that I want. So this is a dry baby wipe, one that I started using last night actually. I just swap it out. I've also used Kleenex tissue, works great too. It does shred depending on the brand of Kleenex. So, I like this dry baby wipe. It just doesn't shred as like the Kleenex does, but Kleenex will work. Paper towel will work. I think I used to use paper towel also. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. The rainbow, luscious colors. I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, so let's get the rest of our pieces here. So we're gonna put the granny apple green. And actually I did a pretty good job inking it up with the black ink, because there have been times where I just go back if I feel like there's some splotchy or white spaces. I'll just go back and ink over it and just try it again. Because the black ink slides right off that Versamark. And the reason I chose this particular flower is that it has veins that make that black pop through and highlight those colors even more. All right, we're going to use dimensionals to pop that up, but before we do, I'm going to stamp the sentiment, just saying hello. By the way, I inked my, I didn't mention that, did I? I inked up that Whisper White card, that emboss piece. I inked it up with Memento ink. Definitely the best one to try when doing that. Okay. All right, just saying hello. There's a spot there. There's a spot here. You know what? Maybe I will put it there. That way my rhinestones can just float around in different places. This is refillable. This is the putty tip, and you just twist it and get a little more putty each time. This end is like a little pick tool. It's a sharper point, and you got a little spatula base here, which always helps. This has been my saver when I have needed to lift up cardstock that I just adhered down too quickly. So the holiday rhinestones, they have the similar tones to the colors I used. I use bright colors. These are more of the regal jewel tones, but once they're on this card, you would think that they were meant to go with this set of colors. It's just a very attractive blend. Okay, so let's do a little golden tone. Here we go, golden tone right here. and perhaps let's pick up that red shade again, and we'll put that one right there. So I have 5 jewels, and there we go. Isn't that awesome? Awesome. I love this card. Like, it's a little messy making it, but you know, I think it's got that wow factor because you're able to enhance the color. This one surprised me. I knew I liked the tile, and the way my friend created her cards, she combined inks because the way that the tile, let me show you that stamp set. The way the tiles come, there's the heavier tile, and then there's the light fill-in colors, and it's so strong as a vertical of the cardstock sheet. So it's 4 inches, I'm sorry, 4¼ inches by 11 inches. Then I scored it at 2 3/4, flip it over, and scored it again at 2 3/4. To me, that's just easier to remember. The measurements are really simple. If you just remember 2 3/4, flip it around 2 3/4, and then it's just your standard vertical cut. So that creates our gatefold. Then I did a layer. I'm actually using these pieces top. They're going to be top to bottom, so they're still 4 1/4 tall, and then I just cut it down 1/4 inch. So it's, instead of 2 3/4, now these are 2½ inches. These are my next layers, and then the final layer that I'm working with are 2 1/4 by 4 inches. Okay, so these are the ones that we're going to ink up. Now, the idea behind this, you would think by looking at this and after having this experience, you would think that I used ink, and I did not. The only ink I'm going to use is the black ink. The tiles I'm going to stamp directly onto this mint macaron, and it gives it a darker tone, especially once not that the black is absorbed on the Versamark, but the black behind it gives it a darker tone. So we're going to stamp straight onto mint macaron and show this. Once I saw this, I thought I really needed to bring in the Just Jade cardstock because it just brings those two colors together nicely. So again, let's get our tools out, our basic tools. We need our black ink, we need our Versamark, we need our stamping buddy. Okay, and we're going to need our big block of tiles. By the way, as I'm pulling things out, here are the dies to the today's tile stamp set, and they're called field tile dies. I did use this smaller rectangular piece that has a little corner designs. I used that for the sentiment, so we'll be stamping on that in a moment. All right, here is my tile polyphotomor stamp. I'm going to ink it up. This one's kind of a big one, so I'm going to ink it upside down. And I'm really grateful for the contrast in this grid paper because it's going to help me. I'm going to have to really line this up. I got brave. The first time I made it, I just stamped on a cardstock and then I cut it. But this time I got brave. I'm going to do it sideways. I want to center my stamp. Press down really hard. I want to be sure and get that Versamark in all the right places. Okay, we'll flip this off. That one's going to work. But you can see this one, just you can tell the Versamark makes the cardstock just a little deeper tone. So, all right, now let's get to the fun part. We're going to do some Here we go again, messy, messy, messy. Get my tool. I'm just gonna smear my Memento Black all over the place. Get it, squish it in there and get it in between those little details. It's getting, you know what's nice about this too, and the reason I was being so picky about lining it up just right, is that it's going to look like I have a layer of black cardstock behind it. It actually adds to the layer look anyway. So here we go. All right, that one. Now this one. Remember, so what I've done is I have used my embossing buddy, dried off that piece of cardstock. Then I used the Versamark ink and my tiled stamp from Today's Tile. And then I just inked up the stamp with Versamark, stamped onto the cardstock. And Versamark is clear. So now I have enhanced the cardstock color. So I'm working in this project, unlike the first one, I'm working with the color of the cardstock. So you can use, you know, any shade. I've seen a lot of blue tiles, real pretty blue and white tiles. You could still have that same effect. Okay, and just, again, this is a dry baby wipe. It doesn't shred like Kleenex, but Kleenex works and paper towels work. And let's get this piece over here. Now these pieces definitely get dirty in the back because there's so much ink on my scrap paper. Okay, clean those hands. Let's not get black ink on these pretty pieces. All right, here's that little piece that I told you I cut from the tile, field tile dies. So I'm gonna get that and just wanted to say hello. Some adhesive, sticky. Come on, there we go, sticky. Let's put this will give about a 1/8 inch margin. Okay, we're gonna put those two pieces here. And let's see, did I use dimensionals? I did, so let's do that. Give it some extra love. We're gonna put some dimensionals on the back of these tiles. Stamp, also from Tasteful Touches, says good things in life are better with you. So send that love. The good things in life are better with you. There we go. All right. What I was going to show you, that the card I started with this morning, I used this beautiful basket weave mint macaron ribbon. It's a thicker ribbon. And with thick ribbons, I like that knotted look, and it helps keep the card closed. And this ribbon came out last holiday season, and it's called the Glitter Organdy Ribbon. It comes in black, and it's got some real pretty silver sparkles. So, what do you think? I don't know. They're both pretty ribbons. They both look good. Again, I think it just kind of goes with what style you're going for. Both of those match, but yeah, this black one is really pretty. Okay, so that's our second one. And our last one, we're going to change it up. We're still going to have the basic tools. We're still going to use Versamark, but we're going to put away the black Memento. And we are going to now use Versamark, our clear embossing powder, and we're switching stamp sets too. Now this one is Winterwoods. This one came out about a year ago, this stamp set. And while I do have, in our catalog, we have a beautiful, beautiful forestry style stamp set for the holidays. That one's on order and this one was on my shelf. So I opted to use this. I wanted a wintry look. Now I chose the color Peacock, a pretty peacock for this card. It's a green and a blue tone. So it's real dark. And when you put that tone together, it looks very elegant. So we're gonna go with that. Now, I will tell you that I did play around with my colors. This is the shaded spruce, and I used it with a white ribbon, which if you've heard me share this ribbon before, my favorite thing about this ribbon is that you can just ink it up with a blend pen. So I could have even made this a shaded spruce color ribbon, but I wanted to pop it out with just that plain white. But then I said, no, I want a frostier feel. I want a frostier look. So I opted to go with the silver foil and this new ribbon. Remember I told you I had two ribbons from the new catalog. This one's called Metallic Mesh Ribbon. Now it's actually on the page with the Halloween stamp set, which makes a beautiful web effect. So I opted to give it the frosty effect on this card. Now, so far in our Joseph Coat of Many Colors technique, we've been using the black ink in contrast with our stamped image. So I'm going to move those out of the way, and this is going to be the piece we're inking on. So we've gone from inking on Whisper White with multiple colors. We've used Mint Macaron with clear embossing, and now we're going to use this beautiful pretty peacock. I don't know why I said beautiful, the color's pretty peacock as it is. And we're going to get there's two stamps I'm going to use from that set. One being this gorgeous pine tree, and then we're just going to pop this sentiment here in the middle. And all of it is Versamark ink. So let's get started with that. Ink up this tree. And stamp on. Just press firmly down. Don't rock your stamp so you don't get, there we go, so you don't get outline. What got there? Okay, there we go. And we need another tree. So we're gonna ink it up again. Also, if you just ink straight up and down instead of rocking on the, you won't have ink to rock. All right, we're gonna do this. Straight down, pressure, and there we go. Ooh, two really pretty juicy trees. Okay, now let's go ahead and do Thinking of You This Season. Up near the top. Good amount of ink. And now back to our white embossing powder. I'm not white, excuse me, no. It's not white embossing powder. It is clear embossing powder. All of these cards are made with clear embossing powder. So if you're making your little list, be sure it's clear embossing powder. Be But the magic happened. On this darker cardstock color, the Versamark just pops up so nicely. It just gives it a darker green shading. In fact, see, the trees almost look black because of that ink. The ink is enhanced. The ink on the cardstock is enhanced. That was clear Versamark. Almost looks black, but it's going to lighten up. It's going to look like a blizzard. So let's get the white craft ink out, and we're going for the snowy, wintry effect. Look, see, all I'm doing is just inking it with my white ink pad, just like I did earlier with the Memento black on the other cards. Now I'm doing the opposite. Again, just playing around with this is how I came up with this idea, and I just really enjoyed it. Let's use this baby wipe. I forgot, the craft ink is stickier. Actually, with craft ink, you could emboss even. You can use the craft ink as like a Versamark and put embossing powder on it, and it'll stick much like Versamark, but it will leave the white tint too. So if you use a white craft ink with clear embossing powder, it'll actually come out looking white. Okay, see how that blizzard look? It just looks like a mist of snow just blowing around. Now, I added a touch of Wink of Stella. I'm going to do it again. It doesn't really, the typical shine you get with Wink of Stella is not as evident, but what I noticed is that it kind of helped me, it brushes away some more of the white powder, and then it'll leave it looking like there's snow. I'll show you. The Stella, Wink of Stella, it actually, because I'm rubbing it like this, it actually kind of adds some shimmer. It's a real soft kind of shimmer around the tree. It's almost like a halo. Yeah, a halo effect. So it has its place. It's just not, you're not going to get the same look from Wink of Stella that you typically would when you use it straight on, like on a flower or something. But don't you think that, for me it just looks like, it looks like snow. And then a sheet of silver foil behind it. Let's use this beautiful metallic ribbon. And I'm just, it's again, it's a nice wide ribbon, and I'm just going to put a quick knot here. And just enough to make the knot, but not too much to waste this gorgeous ribbon. And get my snips. It's nice and white. I don't want to trim it too close. I want that feathery look. There we go. Ooh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Oof, I like that so much. It's just so simple and serene. Now, I am planning to use the Dove set. I'm going to start putting some projects together. I might even make that a class. But I'm also going to be using the Manger Scene set and my Whimsical Friends. Those are some sets I'm looking forward to showing. I go for that look. Oh, and I've already used the poinsettia set. If you want to see those, go to the video I posted on Wednesday and it shows that in conjunction with the catalog. As I walked through the catalog, when I got to that stamp set of the poinsettias, I showed a couple of the cards that I made. Okay, let's get all this messy stuff out of the way. So let's look at what we've made. We made Thinking of You this season. There it is with the white trim. We made the tiled gatefold card, and I used 2 different ribbons. Today I used the metallic glitter metallic ribbon, or actually it's glittered organdy ribbon, and I used the basket weave. This one is in our new catalog, this one is in our new catalog. And then I also showed you the original Coat of Many Color card, and it is sponging a variety of colors and then using the Versamark and the Memento black ink. And of course you can always take that same type of coloring technique and create a 3-dimensional box cover. There you go. Those are our 3 projects today using the Joseph Coat of Many Colors coloring technique. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. If so, please, send me a message. If you have any ideas or suggestions, I'd be happy to hear from you. If you need a catalog, reach out to me. Stampin' Gloria. Just remember Stampin' Gloria. If you Google Stampin' Gloria, odds are you're going to get my blog or possibly even my store. But Stampin'Up.net, my store. And you have access to ordering Paper Pumpkin, ordering directly from either catalog, the annual or the mini. There's also the link to email me or message me. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.